Women's empowerment isn't new. Islam honored and elevated women long before modern feminism. These women were not waiting for permission, they were making history. So welcome to the Ramadan series. I'm a little bit late, but better late than never. I will be going through the stories of 5 of the most impressive women in the Islamic history, and honestly 5 of my favorites. I have to start the series with Khadija, the business mogul who built an empire and married a younger man, the Prophet, peace be upon him, himself, on her own terms. We also have Asiya, the queen who defied a tyrant and chose faith over fear. Mariam, the woman mentioned the most by name in the Quran, who proved that dignity comes from God, not society. Of course, Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet, peace be upon him, who gave even when she had nothing left. And finally, we have Nusayba, the warrior who bled on the battlefield, proving courage has no gender. This Ramadan, meet the women who rewrote the Islamic history. Are you ready? Let's get started. The first person to believe in Islam wasn't a man. It was a powerful businesswoman, Khadija bint Khuwailid, self-made business mogul, one of the wealthiest women in Mecca, and the first believer in Islam. She shattered gender norms long before modern feminism was even a thought. She was 40, successful, and independent when she noticed a young merchant named Muhammad, peace be upon him. He was 25, known for his honesty, and she saw his potential. So she proposed to him and they got married despite their 15-year age difference. In a society where younger men marrying older women was unheard of, their love was built on respect and not baseless traditions. When he received his first revelation and ran to her in fear, she did not doubt him. She held him, reassured him, and became his greatest supporter. She even funded the entire early Muslim movement and endured hardship alongside him. She wasn't just his wife, she was his rock, his advisor, his equal. Khadija was powerful, successful, and chose her own husband. She proves you can run your own empire, marry on your own terms, and still be deeply loved and respected. So tell me, who said Islam doesn't empower women? When was the last time you did something purely selfless, with no expectations, no recognition, and no cameras to film it? Fatima bint Muhammad was the darling daughter of the Prophet, peace be upon him. His whole heart, his comfort, the one he called the leader of the women of paradise. But despite her noble lineage, her life was never easy. One evening, she and her husband, Ali, prepared to break their fast. They had barely enough food for themselves, just a few bites of bread. But as they sat down, a poor man knocked on their door. He was hungry, desperate, and without hesitation, Fatima handed him their food. That night, they slept on an empty stomach. The next evening, just as they were about to eat, an orphan came to their door. Again, they gave away their meal and remained hungry. On the third night, they were weak from fasting. Their hands trembled as they reached for their food. But before they could eat, a captive stood at their door, pleading for something to eat. Without hesitation, they gave. 3 days, no food, no complaints. Just pure, selfless giving. Fatima didn't just give from what she had, she gave from her heart. Her kindness wasn't just in words, it was in action. So tell me, when was the last time you gave, not because you had plenty, but because someone else needed it more than you? This woman was known for one thing: fighting. It's a story of battlefields and bloodshed, but one you need to hear. Meet Nusayba bint Ka'ab. She wasn't a soldier, she wasn't a warrior, she was a woman who refused to let the battlefield be a man's place. She came to the Battle of Uhud to help, to bring water, to tend to the wounded, to support from the sidelines. But when the enemy broke through the ranks and reached the Prophet, peace be upon him, she did not even think. She grabbed a sword, she charged into battle, she fought shoulder to shoulder with the men. With her own body, she shielded the Prophet, peace be upon him. With her own hands, she struck back at the enemy. With her own blood, she proved that courage has no gender. She took blow after blow, wounds across her arms, cuts on her shoulders, but she kept fighting. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, saw her and even said later on, "Wherever I turned on the battlefield, I saw her fighting beside me." Nusayba's story is a reminder. Strength isn't given, it's taken and it's fought for. So tell me, when the world tells you to stay in your place, do you listen or do you rewrite the rules? Do you ever feel judged for believing in God? Then you need to hear Asiya's story. Asiya bint Muzahim, who was the queen of Egypt, wife of the pharaoh, and a woman who never let the world shake her faith. She lived in a palace of gold, married to a man who called himself a god. But she knew the truth, and she refused to worship him. She saw injustice all around her, the people enslaved, the innocent. And when Pharaoh ordered the of all baby boys, she found a child floating in the Nile, Musa, also known as Moses. She saved him, raised him, and when he returned years later as a prophet, she believed in him. Pharaoh could control armies, but he couldn't control her heart. He her, tried to break her, but she never wavered. Even in her final moments, she prayed, "My Lord, build for me a home near you in paradise." She did not beg for mercy. She did not bow to the pressure. She chose defiance. She chose faith, and she chose the truth. So tell me, when the world pressures you, do you stand firm or are you staying silent? Why me? What did I do to deserve this? How often have you thought this when life feels unfair, when the burden feels too heavy? But bad things happen to good people too. And there is a powerful story in the Quran, one of hope and resilience in the face of judgment. Meet Mariam bint Imran, or Mary, mother of Jesus. She was young, unmarried, and suddenly pregnant. She had done nothing wrong, but the world did not see a miracle. This was scandal. They whispered, they judged. So she ran. Alone, exhausted, she collapsed under a palm tree and she cried, "I wish I had before this and been long forgotten." But God never forgot her. He sent her water from beneath her feet. He made dates fall from the tree above her. And in that moment, he reminded her, "You don't need the world's approval. I see you and I am enough." And when she returned to face her people, she didn't argue, she didn't justify herself, she stayed silent. And then her newborn son, Jesus, miraculously spoke in her defense. Mariam's story is a powerful reminder. You don't need validation from society to be worthy. God sees your truth. So tell me, in a world where your value feels tied to opinions, numbers, and approval, do you define yourself by them or by who you truly are?